got lots of love, love.
All right, everybody, good evening and welcome back to another one of our CGL mid-season tournament grand finals here. We've got our combined NA Diamond match here tonight between Utopia, Shangri'La, and No Peel Gaming. I am joined by Jag, the incredible Jag, who is actually here for the first time in CGL. So everyone in chat, give him a great welcome, and I just want to know, are you ready to go?
You know, I'm glad you said it because I was going to say it myself. First time here at the Console Gaming League. I am so pumped. I mean, this is a championship match, and sure, you might say, oh, it's just Diamond, but that's one of the most fun aspects of Overwatch. When you see these other divisions, these other ranks, you never know what they're going to pull out. Meta, who needs that? We might see a ton of Winston. We might go back to Winston Sombra for all we know, but this is a championship matchup. Like you said, there's some points on the line that have some big implications for later on throughout the rest of the year. So both these teams, they're going to be ready to roll. I'm ready to roll. And we're actually going to see what exactly these teams are bringing to the fray with these starting rosters.
Yeah, and our first roster here is going to be Utopia, Shangri-La, Frozone, and Finks holding it down on the DPS line, CJ Cool and Roydbelt in the back line, and it's going to be Kael'Tor holding it down in the front line on the tank. And then
CJ Cool, Roydbelt on the support lineup as well. So, it's gonna be. They've got a great showing so far, I'd say. Like, they actually won their last matchup in the first round of the bracket 3-0. So, coming in not knowing these teams well, I would say they have a little bit of a leg up. They got the clean sweep, No Peel. They actually had to struggle a little bit in that last series.
And speaking of No Peel, this is the team that I have a little bit of experience with. I casted them once before. It's Hoth, Throbo, and Taint Returns on the DPS, Cotton Baller on the tank, and Real Bot and Neko Nyan on the support. This is the one of the two, like I said, that I've got a little bit of experience with, and they looked very good in the match that I did cast them in earlier in the season. You'll have to excuse me, I don't remember who they played. It was about a month ago. But, you know, both of these teams have earned their way into this tournament and into this grand final. Only 4 teams were able to qualify here in this combined Diamond tier. So, I mean, you know that these teams are really, really strong in their tier. So, like you said, me too. I'm excited to see what these teams are going to come out on, because, you know, this isn't the Overwatch League. I like saying that. This isn't even contenders, or, you know, it's not even the highest tier of CGL. This is the tier where everybody is playing for the love of the game. And our first map, as it's going to be the second round of this tournament, is going to be Ilios. So, Jag, what are you kind of expecting to see here on Ilios?
Well, Ilios is one of those interesting control maps because I feel like there's a lot of different strategy based on the sub-map that you get. I think of Ruins, I think of those long sight lines, those potential sniper picks that we really don't see a ton right now in the meta. I think it's going to be... We're going to see what it is in a second. But, I mean, if you look at Lighthouse, then it would have been maybe a little bit more playing for the point. But it is going to be Ruins, what we're starting out with here. So we could see a little bit more of the Widowmaker and Hanzo than we'd see otherwise, but the meta right now is pretty much just a death ball comp. You run straight at them, you hope that you can win out, and already looking at what Utopia is showing us right away, they are completely going for that strategy. They want to run into them with the Lucio speed boost, maybe wall someone up with Finks, and then just melt them down with the Bastion. On their side, it's going to be a slightly different variation of the Brawl. Of the Death Ball, they do have the Jucker Queen, so she has her shout, which will give them that speed boost, but no support like Lucio to do so. A little bit more healing of the Moira, as well as the Kiriko, and the Suzu could potentially save them. I think the big thing is the Reaper. The Reaper has to be the star here, so Taint Returns has to be able to melt down the opposing side, especially the Bastion, or they're just going to get run over.
Yeah, and it looks like No Peel wants to take control of the statue side here as we get into Ilios. Ruins throwing that dynamite out to get a little bit of damage in, build up that Bob, but it's going to be Frozone that starts us off, taking down Real Bot. Really, really quick. Cotton Baller able to get a nice little trade there, cleaving through CJ Cool, and everybody from both sides is so low right now, but it's gonna be No Peel Gaming having to back out here as Utopia, Shangri-La gonna get the first flip, but this fight isn't done yet as Cotton Baller shouts no peel in and takes down Frozone. We see Hot Throw trying to put in the rest of this damage, and it's still looking like No Peel's gonna finally take this fight and their flip here at 21 or 25% for Shangri-La.
It's a nice little first cap by Shangri-La, but they don't win the fight outright. They only get that one pick and then have better positioning, but then no peel, they wait for the re-engagement. They have actually, one of the supports, Real Body, swapped to the Baptiste, so now even more healing, Mortality field at their disposal as well. And with that, that's the go button. They just run in straight away, go for that Bastion, and when Frozone is offline, there's not much that Shangri-La can do. So very good adjustments by no peel at the very beginning to take that fight. Now they're going to engage with the Coalescence.
The ever-present invisible Coalescence that gets shut down by Kale Tor's Shatter. Window and Blizzard popped by Feeks, but Tate returns! Dropping in with the Death Blossom, able to take out 3 players from Shangri-La, make that 4, and that's going to be, like, picture perfect for no peel.
It's so expensive for Utopia. Shangri-La, they use 3 ultimates there and they get nothing out of it. It's all shut down by the Reaper. And now they're making some swaps. They're actually answering with their own Reaper now. So Fink's getting off of that May, trying to go pound for pound, blow for blow with Taint Returns, who has been an absolute star so far. In Utopia, they're just trying to find a way back in, and this Rampage could be huge.
Oh my god, it's 5 on the Rampage from Cotton Baller, but a beautiful beat from CJ Cool to keep Shangri-La alive. Throbo trades it out on Cotton Baller and make that 2 for the Ash, able to keep this point alive for no peel. And I mean 3 for Hathrobo, absolutely showing out despite Cotton Baller going down early there. And we're in last fight territory here on Ruins.
And we're the amplification matrix, excuse me, already being used. They've already taken out Finks. Is anyone even able to touch on the side of Utopia? They're stuck in their spawn side.
It's gonna have to be CJ Cool if it's going to be anybody. Frozone just dropping it down on their own heads there, taking down Real Body. But Tame returns with another big Blossom, able to take out 3. And now it is just CJ Cool left alive to try and keep this point going. Neko Nyan cleans it up, and that's going to be No Peel Gaming taking Ilios Ruins.
And some amazing Death Blossoms by this Reaper player on the side of No Peel Gaming. Both times, Shangri-La, they try to throw down their own amplification matrix. Roybelt tries to get that extra damage, that extra healing out, and each time it is completely shut down by the Reaper ultimate. Nothing can be done from Shangri-La after they get that first point cap, and I think you see there some of the disadvantages of running the Reinhardt. He's a great shield, but once that shield is gone, he's just a walking battery, and he does not last very long despite a little bit of mobility with the charge. Can't really do much else if you're in the line of fire now. Shangri-La, after losing that last point, completely swapping things up. We're going for the Wrecking Ball Pharmacy, so a lot of mobility, a lot of quick engages, a lot of potential one-taps with the Tracer and the Pharah. No Peel, they're answering with their own comp. The Doomfist going to be thrown into this Wrecking Ball.
And I mean, looking at No Peel Gaming's composition right now, if I'm Finks, I'm kind of scared. Hathrobo's an excellent DPS, and you see him putting in the damage on that Far Mercy. Not quite able to get a pick there early, but able to pressure Finks out of the fight. And it's going to be No Peel Gaming taking the positioning on the point, probably going to get the first flip. But I mean, Frozone on top of Neko Nyan, able to take down 2 there. So it's gonna be the same story, but flipped here on Lighthouse, as despite No Peel getting the first flip, it looks like Shangri-La should take the point here, as CJ Cool gets the resurrection onto Roybelt. But Cotton just won't die. Finally goes down after holding it for 25%, but Shangri-La finally getting the flip.
The exact same time, to 25% here. They finally get the flip back in their favor. This time, like you said, the opposite direction. Shangri'La capping this one second, but a great play by the Tracer. Frozen gets in the backline, just follows up on all this Tracer damage. No peel. They have double hit scan to deal with this Pharah in the sky, but you really have to take out the Mercy first. The Pharah is not the one that you're worried about. It's the Mercy who continues to poke them with all the damage, and there is the Mercy down, and immediately Finks follows suit.
Yeah, Cotton Baller and Returns cleaning up on the Far Mercy together, but Frozone wants to make it interesting, taking down Real Body, but it's just not gonna be enough as Returns and Cotton Baller are still going hard. 3 for Returns and 2 for Cotton Baller. And you know, you don't see it very often, but the Doomfist killing the Mercy midair.
Yeah, you don't. That's an interesting one, but Doomfist has a lot of mobility, has a lot of ways to get up into the sky, so field final, like just little taps after the hit scan GPS doing all the damage, and you get final elimination credit. Looking at No Peel Gaming, they may be holding on to this, but they gotta be careful. There's gonna be a lot of ultimates online for Shangri-La. That's gonna be one of them. It's gonna be the Deadeye into the Furrow.
Mirage comes out, kills a Throbo, but I mean, Taint does pop that Deadeye and kill Finks. Finks comes back into this fight. Coalescence dropped by Neko Nyan. And I mean, it looks like Shangri-La is coming out on top of this point after Roy Belt dropped that Kitsune rush, but wait, a Throbo didn't go off the map? A Throbo kills Finks? Frozone able to trade it out, and No Peel Gaming stabilizes.
This is why Doomfist is getting more and more popular throughout this patch. Not necessarily the most meta tank to play when you have someone like Orisa or Junker Queen that might have better stability and survival overall, but Doomfist can build up those temporary shields after hitting those primary fires with the his like gun in his fist. Then he can punch out, he can jump out, he's got his power block, he's so much just survivability, and they're surviving for so long they can do things like this.
Yeah, Robo finding Finks early after they had switched over to the Echo. Keltor and Frozone trying to make it interesting, but it's still a 3-for-2 trade, and Cotton Baller with 3. It's once again just CJ Cool left on the point, and Cotton Baller with a 4th kill there, and that is going to be it. No Peel Gaming takes map number 1 on Ilios.
Great rounds in the chat from the support of No Peel Gaming, feeling pretty confident after what was a dominant showing. Sure, you did give a little bit of point percentage overall to the other team, but I mean, it was like 30% each round, so not even close to 100 in total when you count it, and it is all said and done. No Peel, they just seem to have the answers every time. They lose that first fight on Ruins, immediately change up their comp, go a little bit away from the meta with a Moira Baptiste setup, and it works. The Reaper as well, putting it in the work. And then that second point, they get first cap, they lose that first fight, but they just stay to the course. They know how to execute that composition through and through. The Tracer is just trying to do their best, but can't keep up with the double hit scan on the side of No Panic, and they take, or No Peel, excuse me, and they just take that one easily.
Yeah, and I mean, it can't be understated. Like, Cotton Baller looked good on the Doomfist on Lighthouse there. Just an absolute nightmare. I don't think Hathrobo died at all after that first fight. So, I mean, that Doomfist, obviously, you know, known for the survivability, those cooldowns, giving him that overhealth, like you said, during the map. They just couldn't deal with it, and then the DPS from the side of No Peel Gaming, an absolute nightmare for everybody else on the side of Shangri-La, and that is going to be Ilios going No Peel's way. Our next map type is going to be hybrid, and it's going to be Shangri-La's pick. So, you know, we didn't get to see, we got to see some interesting stuff anyway on this map from Shangri-La, like the Wrecking Ball, something that is a little more off meta for sure. So what would you expect to see maybe coming out onto hybrid? What map do you think they might pick?
I'm expecting not to see Hollywood. I think you stay away from Hollywood from what I saw Utopia play. It seemed like they really wanted to run that Rhine comp off the get-go, play like what is being played in Overwatch League playoffs right now. We see a lot of Bastion, a lot of Mei, not as much Rhine, sometimes like the Orisa or Junker Queen, but it seems like that was where their comfort was, and you could see that's where they were strongest, even if they did end up losing that round. It was just some really good swaps from No Peel that kind of forced them into a bad spot. So I would expect potentially Kings Row and Iconwell, those would be like my top two. Midtown you can make work, but usually you need a Symmetra to sort of get like around places, get in and out. And we haven't really seen any Sim just yet, so might not be in either team's wheelhouse. So I'd expect one of those two, Kings Row or Iconwell, just because they're two of the maps that are known more for that Brawl style in the first place, Kings Row especially, where it's kind of the home of Brawl. So that would be my pick, but we'll have to see what they end up going with.
And I mean, as you were talking, we did get the map selection, and it is going to be Kings Row coming out from Utopia Shangri-La. So I mean, probably just want to run that Reinhardt, and you know, I don't blame them. It's a very, well, for us especially, I think it's a very fun comp to watch. I really do enjoy watching that Reinhardt rush, and even if they don't want to run the Reinhardt, Zarya is looking very, very strong right now, and they could go to something a little more meta over the last month or so with the Orisa. I think an Orisa poke or rush or brawl or whatever, I feel like it could work very, very well on this map especially. So that's kind of what I'm expecting to see, is probably the Reinhardt, since they did bring it out on Ilios, but I wouldn't be surprised to see something like a Zarya or an Orisa.
Yeah, Orisa, super strong despite her slight nerfs that she had in the most recent patch. I think Zarya, especially with her buffs, makes her very powerful. The fact that her bubbles are so much better for allies now kind of makes her less of a me tank and more of a playing for the team tank. And then, you know, you get all of your damage ramped up by the damage done to those bubbles by your opponents, and then you're just an unstoppable force. So there's potential to see here. I would assume, though, it's probably more so going to be a Ryan, Orisa, or Junker Queen from what we've seen thus far. One thing I do know for sure, there's actually is going to be a swap on the side of, I believe, the team that just won that last map.
Yeah, that's No Peel. Yeah.
So it's going to be Neko Neon coming out, and we're going to be seeing another support come in their place, True Buddha instead. And I'm wondering if they're trying to run this because it felt like last time they didn't really have a true main support. You saw them playing like, you know, different variations of flex support for the most part, minus the Mercy play, but like there was no Lucio. But it looks like actually the reason they're doing this is because they want to bring out an Iliari, which, yeah, a lot of damage, a lot of healing potential, and then you combo it with something like an Ana or Baptiste, and your team just never dies.
This is interesting. Okay, so, all right, Cotton Baller. Make a decision, bro. Okay, so Cotton Baller, they want to run a brawl with the Ramatra. A little more, probably a little more comfort there for Cotton Baller. On that hero, Kael'thor coming out on the Reinhardt, those punches and pummels do go through barriers. So, maybe expecting the Reinhardt from Kael'thor.
Yeah, well, that is exactly what they're getting. The Riot is going to be making its appearance once again. I'm a bit surprised about the Hanzo. It is a lot of poke damage, especially with those storm arrows. But as you can see, like, they're just getting melted right off the bat. They don't even have a shield. Or they do have a shield, but it's very, very low.
And I do like what I'm seeing from Shangri-La right now, taking it to No Peel so fast with CJ Cool on that Lucio, and they've already almost got a tick, and they do have a pick. It's going to be Real Body going down first. Frozone with a good arrow into that Iari player. Cotton Baller doing his best to put that damage in, but it's just not enough, as it's going to be Shangri-La taking this fight in, you know, pretty easy fashion.
Yeah, and this is the issue of playing the Iari. Like, sure, she can do a lot of damage, she can do a lot of healing, but she is not gonna be able to get you in and out of fights. And when you have a Reinhardt running straight at you, you are at such a disadvantage. You do have the Ramatra shield, but it's only temporary. They can run past it. Your Bastion is not nearly as protected sitting behind a moving shield like the Rhine shield that you can constantly move in and out of. And they are already getting pushed back so much. I mean, the Ramatra is down to 80 health, is gonna get healed up. But you can see already Utopia's made so much space on this map. They're gonna get Bookstore for free, probably. They're gonna get into the second alley. They actually might get the Ramatra. They're cut off by the wall.
Yeah, and Keltor has this Shatter locked and loaded already, so maybe wants to hit a big Shatter here. We're gonna see it. It's gonna be hit 3 for Keltor, putting most of No Peel on their back. Throbo able to trade out for True Buddha. They are going to get this corner, but Return so low, popping that airstrike for a little bit of space, and they're going to get comfortable in this corner as Throbo takes down Frozone and pushes Shangri-La out of the fight.
Seems like killing Cotton Baller is impossible. On the Doomfist, on the Ramatra, just pops his Nemesis form. Doomfist just punches away. Like, there's no way to take this guy down, no matter how hard you try. And it was a great shatter from the side of Utopia. But where's the follow-up? The May goes a little bit too deep. They don't actually get the eliminations they need off of it. Now they're using an Animatrix in a very uncomfortable situation. They don't really have the angle they want. You see that? No peel. They are peeling all the way away from it.
Yeah, I mean, a misplay there from Roidbell way too early on the window there. We're going to see the Captive Sun come out from Real Body, but getting frozen up there in the Blizzard of Finks, they're not able to follow up on it. And it's just the DPS left here for Utopia, or not Utopia, but No Peel Gaming. So
holding,
just gotta play safe.
They're holding and they're backing up, so they're not giving this up for free. They're gonna recontest this with a full team. Utopia, they don't have anything to work with just yet. No Peel, they still have a nano. They're gonna use it right on the Bastion.
Returns so much damage. I always say the scariest thing in Overwatch is a windowed Bastion, but a nanoed Bastion is just as scary. But Returns doesn't find a pick with the nano, takes down Roidbell, but not before Frozone gets 2. Make that 3 for the Hanzo, and that is going to be, I mean, Returns is still here, but they're gonna get the point. Shangri-La does.
I just don't think the Bastion works really well with the Ramatra. I think it's really hard to play around the Ramatra like you would in Orisa or a Reinhardt. You've already seen that in No Peel, they're going to actually swap off of this back to the Doomfist. They're going to keep the Bastion, I'm assuming, just because the ultimate's already there, but they've also swapped to Kiriko and Moira. So most of this composition from No Peel has completely flipped around, and it's because they're getting desperate. I mean, there's so much time on the clock for Utopia. They're going to be throwing in the artillery strike. It's going to get one and the Immortality Field.
Yeah, I mean, usually that airstrike is just kind of a warning thing to push the enemy team away. Very, very good from Returns to find that pick onto Roidbell and push Shangri-La out of this fight as Cotton Baller comes back. We're going to get into this fight, though, really, really quick again, and the Shatter only hits Returns here, but CJ Cool able to follow up on it as Finks and Frozone get 1 each there. And, I mean, now, once again, it's going to be Shangri-La just imposing their will onto No Peel Gaming, pushing up to the spawn doors here.
This is smart. They're delaying them. They're getting a lot more push on the card. They might get them where they don't. But even when they finally get a recontest on this, there's going to be a Blizzard, a Mayalt right on the point that's going to freeze everyone up.
And I mean, big plays from Keltor and Frozone to find the DPS of No Peel there. It's just Cotton Baller and the supports left on this point. The Blizzard doesn't find a strong target, but you know, just a dominant defense as when the Coalescence comes out, Keltor just puts Real Body on his back.
That's what Utopia needed after the last map, after Ilios, where they didn't really put up as much of a fight as they wanted to. You know, there were some moments of brilliance. They did get a point capture here or there, but this was just straight dominance from beginning to end. Having 2:49 on the clock when all is said and done on your first run through King's Row is a very respectable timing, and they did it running that Reinhardt, exactly what we were talking about before. We saw them really like it on the beginning of Ilios. They had to move away from it when it wasn't working, but here, this is a map where it works perfectly. The composition, it never changed. Roidbell just, you know, didn't have the best first Ant Matrix, I will admit, but that second one, the second to last fight one they used right there, completely shut down any real chance No Peel Gaming had. They all got staggered out. They still had so many ults left on the side of Utopia where they could just fire them willy-nilly like they did at the very end with the Blizzard, and they take that one home. No Peel, they're going to be answering with their own kind of rush. It's what we've seen is a bit of a counter to the Rhine, the Orisa, because you can kind of just push through the Rhine, ignore his shield, and he has the Arista has so much sustainability with the fact that they can just go golden and just get all that extra overheal for a little bit. But no peel, they are in a position they haven't found themselves in pretty much all series thus far, where they are down.
Yeah, and to be down 250 in the time bank is a lot, especially to finish the map that fast. It doesn't happen very often. But now No Peel coming in with the Orisa Rush, trying to do something similar to what Shangri-La did on their attack, but Frozone once again coming up big with a pick onto Throbo. And I mean, No Peel without that Ashe. Okay, Frozone putting No Peel on ice right now. I mean, absolute dominance from the Hanzo early on here. And that is going to be exactly what you want to see if you're a fan of Shangri-La or if you're on Shangri-La.
You can see No Peel, they're trying to mirror this Hanzo now have swapped to themselves. And I doubted this pick from Frozen. I said earlier, I'm a bit surprised by this because it doesn't really seem to work with what they're running. Usually you want something like a Reaper, a Bash, something that just does a lot of damage. But Frozen gets another one. So you know what? Who cares about all that high damage potential when you're hitting headshots, when you're hitting all of the dinks over and over and over again. And No Peel Gaming, they've already lost a minute and they have gained nothing from it. Utopia are getting close to almost all of their ultimates, or at least 3 of them, so they are looking really good.
Yeah, Frozone again! Frozone starting it out on to real body Hathrobo. Damage and very, very low from that dragon. And Frozone with 3! Does end up falling to Hathrobo, but it's just too much. The headshots coming from the Hanzo are just knocking No Peel over.
However, they do lose their carry, Utopia, without Frozen. I'm not sure if they committed their Lucio to go back and try to get them. I don't see them, but they're gonna use an Matrix right off the bat, and Finks actually can open up with their own headshot.
Yeah, I mean, you see the one-shot headshot through the window from Finks. And I mean, Kael'Tor and the rest are doing just fine without Frozone. They're just there to take over the mantle, and with or without their hard carry, they're gonna win this fight whether No Peel likes it or not.
Yeah, Roydbelt has really stepped up in these last few fights, getting some really nice amplification matrix value. That one helps save the fight. That opening elimination allows Utopia to get back to full strength, but now they're gonna have to deal with this Terror Surge, and you can see Cotton Baller's going for it.
Cotton Baller goes for it, but the Immortality Field from Roydbelt able to keep the BAP alive, but the damage dealt is just too much. The Shatter only hits real body as Cotton Baller does not get hit by it, and I mean, that's exactly what you want to see if you're No Peel. I mean, only one ultimate use, and Shangri-La, they use the Shatter and the Blizzard.
Yeah, they can't find any value. The Terror Surge finding everything they needed on the side of No Peel, and this is what I mentioned before. As a Arista, you can just kind of run through the run. You can ignore them pretty much. They haven't been able to do that up until that point because they kept getting picks right off the bat on the side of Utopia, but now they're the ones getting picked first. They're losing CJ Cool right at the beginning of the fight. There's no sound barrier now on their side. There's still 4 ultimates for No Peel. They could run them over if they want to, but they're just playing it safe. They're letting the card get some progress, and Utopia is moving back without any ultimates being used on the other side.
I want to be honest, I don't think Throbo meant to kill CJ Cool there. But speaking of Throbo, we see both DPS ultimates actually thrown out by No Peel Gaming, and a counter dragon from Frozone. Beats used by both Lucios as well, so an expensive fight from both sides. But the window comes out from Roydbelt and helps Frozone take down his counterpart in Hathrobo. And it's looking very, very good for Shangri-La right now. As, I mean, everybody's getting very, very low on both sides. I mean, Frozone coming up big! Frozone with another fight with 3 kills. Make it 4. Can we get 5? We see 5 from Frozone! And that, I mean, just absolutely dominant on the Hanzo right now.
Now Throbo comes back into it, so it's not a team kill, but it's a technical team kill, an ace, if you will. All 5 found by the Hanzo. Now they have another Dragon Strike after just using it a little while ago, and they're gonna use it.
We're gonna see the Terra Surge out from Cotton Baller. The damage is gonna be good to take down Kael'Tor, but Roydbelt and Frozone Oh my god, Frozone, stop it! They have families! I mean, you know, they lose Kael'Tor, but it just doesn't matter because Frozone is just there throwing the arrows, ripping heads off.
Yeah, I don't have the stats to back it up, but this is a flooded deadlift if I've ever seen one. This has to be with how many
In my heart it is.
At least in my heart it is, because there have been so many final those, so many headshots connecting, and it's forced No Peel again to go back onto the Doomfist Orisa. It should have worked on paper, but it's not, and now they're going back to the tried and true.
We see Finks dropping the Blizzard and a great wall to stop the Doomfist from getting out despite Finks going down. The Blizzard is good, and it's just CJ Cool left and a Lucio duel maybe? Nah, Real Body is not going, or sorry, True Buddha not able to find, or able to get out there.
And this comp is all over the place from No Peel. They've got a Zenyatta, a Junkrat, a Doomfist, and none of them can stand up to the Earthshatter, but they're actually the ones losing on the side of Utopia.
Yeah, 2-3 ultimates out there from Utopia. Just not enough as Kael'Tor and Roybuilt go down as they both use their ultimates. And this is what you want to see if you're No Peel, trying to get this stagger onto the Mei. They get Finks killed there. Hopefully for CJ Cool, he's able to get out. No, you gotta get out there, CJ.
Yeah, they're getting staggered really difficultly here, so this might be a free point capture for No Peel after it looks like they might just get stalled at the very end. I don't think there's going to be any sort of recontest. Maybe they throw in the Dragon Strike. There might be a last second one. They're throwing the Dragon Strike, but the punch into the charge.
Cotton Baller coming up big. No kills in the column, but a big play from Cotton Baller to push Kael'Tor back and keep them from touching the point.
Who needs meta? Who needs meta, right? Like, this is what I was saying. Like, you know, at this rank, it might just be comfort picks, and they're making it work. But this is the really difficult thing. They need to get a capture of at least a little bit of time in the bank to have any chance at an overtime. If they capture with 0 seconds left, they don't get another chance. Only Utopia does. So time is not on their side.
And Furubuda able to escape despite going so very, very low. And who else but Frozone to start us off gets rid of Return's Riptire. This guy just doesn't stop. Every time we start a fight, it's always Frozone getting something big. Returns falls to Finks's Torbjorn turret, and Cotton Baller is doing everything he can to keep this alive for No Peel, throwing out the ultimate from the Doomfist, but with 24 seconds left, I mean, it's close. Cool, CJ Cool able to kill Real Body, but I don't know.
If you're Utopia, you just stall this. You don't care about winning this fight. You just throw as many bodies as you can on the point. You force it to get to 0-0, and then you play for the next round. They cannot win this, and they have accomplished it in just a moment. There it is. So no matter what happens, either you win out right here or you get an extra chance. Can they even touch? The Transcendence, the boop, it's not enough. They do get back in time, but I think Utopia's gonna win this outright.
Yeah, I mean, they come back. Kael'Tor able to kill Rebody. Frozone killing Hothrobo. I mean, this is perfect if you're Utopia Shangri'La. Cotton Baller has returned, but Finks' turret, the best player in the lobby in that fight. And we're not going to the extra rounds. It's just gonna be Shangri-La winning their map pick on Kings Row outright.
And it was a little dire at the very end. Their attack looked really prolific, really strong, but they falter a bit on this defense. They have a really good first point hold, a really good second point hold, and then it seems to all fall apart near the latter half of second point. They just start to get steamrolled, they get staggered a little bit, but they get back into the swing of things just as it matters most at the very last second on that third point. They finally stabilize. They just stall out long enough for the rest of the team to get back into everything that they need. And there they win it outright at the very, very end. And this is really important. This is only a first to 3. So falling down into an 0-2 hole would have been devastating early on. They would have had to go for that reverse sweep. But now if things evened up, they are looking just as good as their counterparts No Peel Gaming. 1-1, it's anyone's series.
Yeah, it really, really is. Our next map type is going to be on Flashpoint. We do have the selection. It's gonna be on Servasa, but unfortunately we don't get to watch it just yet. We are going to head to a break for just a few minutes. So, I mean, this match, it's a banger thus far. I mean, both teams playing very, very well, so you won't want to miss it. So stick around, and I mean, we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Carpe diem.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the mid-season grand finals of our combined diamond tier in CGL. We've got an absolute series on our hands. Utopia, Shangri'La taking their map pick of King's Row to even it up to 1-1 here. Now going into our third map, it's going to be Flashpoint, and as I said before the break, we are headed to Servasa, the by far more popular of the two Flashpoint maps at the moment. So as I understand, this is going to be your first time casting Flashpoint. Obviously, I know that you've watched and covered some Flashpoint before with the Overwatch League stuff. So what would you be expecting here?
I mean, I think the big thing is that New Junk City is not liked a lot because it has some really, really punishing high ground on a lot of its different points. I think Servasa is favored because it's very straightforward for the most part. It's very much you're just running at each other for the most fights, like on the point. Sometimes you play off the point and then you still end up on the point eventually. So I think this is just the simpler of the maps to figure out, the easier of the maps to play. There's a lot less positioning on the point itself that really is impactful compared to New Junk City. And also, it's just a beautiful map. Like, let's be real, Servasa is probably one of the prettiest maps in all of Overwatch to this date. So I'm still missing some of those assault maps. Some of those assault maps looked really nice.
I think it's the prettiest since maybe Paris.
I don't know about that one. I was thinking
Paris is a terrible map to play on, but I gotta hand it to the design team, the art team anyway, that it was a pretty map to look at the very least. But for the most part, I was gonna get to it here. On Flashpoint, speed tends to kill, and so we are gonna see a little bit of speed. It's gonna be the Junker Queen comp from No Peel, and Shangri-La, maybe not speed. We're gonna see just the regular old sit down and don't die Orisa comp.
They do have that Symmetra who's going to speed them around at least with the teleporter, so that's going to be nice. For this side, we got to talk about Neko Neon coming back in after sitting out the last map. Tributa no longer in. I think their designated Lucio player. Now they're going back for that double flex support lineup. And with that shout, they will have a speed boost of their own. So both teams not running a Lucio, but will have some high healing, high damage potential. The Sombra from Thanks is really interesting because Sombra not nearly as strong as she once was with those nerfs that happened recently. So they got to try to find some early hacks. And there's going to be one of them, but immediately they are caught out.
Cotton Ball are able to force the Sombra out from Finks. And Kilter getting a little big for his britches in the face of returns. And it's going to be Cotton Baller that cleans it up. A patient fight from No Peel Gaming, and they're going to take the first flip here.
Yeah, at this point, ticks by really quickly, so you don't get like 5 fights like you might on Control. This is really 2 to 3 fights at best. Utopia, they're lucky they're not getting staggered more out. If they lost to Hanzo and Baptiste, this could be one fight territory. Instead, they're going to regroup. They're going to struggle to find a way back, and Cotton Baller can easily get out. You can see that they're going to have Taint Return just waiting for that potential engage, and this Sombra again is going to be caught out by a knife.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it just yet. Like, I like Sombra, I'm a Sombra player, but it just doesn't, it feels so out of place in what Shangri-La wants to do. But it's going to be Keltor that starts us out here. Finks does end up falling, but it kind of feels like Finks hasn't been that much of a factor anyway. The window comes out from Roy Belt, but the knife pulls him right through it, and it's just not enough. Keltor finds a second pick here, but Cotton Baller showing the power of the Junker Queen right now, and they're gonna take Market.
100-0, just like that. That is the end of that first point. And it didn't really seem like Utopia could ever get back in. Bright Belt had some really good amp matrices on that last map on King's Row, but on Control struggled with it as well. So now as they go to Temple, I want to see them play a little bit better tempo. It seems like their positioning was just a little bit funky when they have to kind of play this brawl-to-brawl head matchup. When they have to run straight into their opponent, they don't really know how to position around it. And they're going to try to go in with that Iliari ult.
They used the Captain Sun there, tried to sync it up with Kael'Tor's Terra Surge, but not quite able to find the combination or get that value that you wanted to see from it. And with that, I mean, it's gonna be No Peel taking the first flip here on Temple, and that was pretty expensive for a lost fight for Shangri-La.
It just seems like these points where there's a neutral objective, or these maps where there's a neutral objective, No Peel really know how to run around them. So far, they have been absolutely phenomenal. They've only lost a few members here and there. They forced Utopia now to make some changes. They're going back to the Reinhardt, and all they have is this Dragon Strike. So they're going to try to throw it in. Maybe they can find a pick off it, or at least they can force some split position. But it's going to be the Death Blossom!
Returns! Doesn't end up falling to the Dragon Strike, but, you know, what can you say? Returns is back on the Reaper and back to the old grind. 3 with the Death Blossom. And, I mean, there's only going to be, like, maybe one more fight here on Temple.
In Shangri-La, they've got nothing to work with right now. They used their only ultimate they had at their disposal. They've made this complete team swap with their supports now to go to the Moira, so they have nothing really to work with. No Peel still has 12%, and they're going to use one of them right there. There's the Rampage.
Rampage good for 4 right there, and I don't like it. I mean, they won the fight, they won the point, but Real Body just blowing an ultimate when they didn't need it.
Yeah, a bit of potentially an overcommitment there. They had a lot of members weak already when the Rampage was thrown in, so it seemed like the fight was going their way. Maybe just wanted to secure it, make sure that they were going to for sure take that point. Now as we're moving on to the next one,
It's going to be Palace.
It's going to be Palace. Yes, exactly. I mean, they kind of reset themselves. I think that's the biggest advantage. Shangri-La, yeah, they keep playing Hero Roulette, so their ult bank is never really being built up anyway. But you have this big advantage, and now without this Kitsune Rush, you might lose a neutral fight. So this could be very costly, but up 2-0, they're probably not too worried about it.
Yeah, it's going to have to be a reverse sweep on Servasa for Utopia Shangri-La to take this map. And so, I mean, they're going to get the first flip, so they're finally going to get some percentage on the board. But nobody has fallen from either side just yet. No Peel has used their shout early here. Or no Peel takes the point. That's my bad. I don't even know what I was thinking. But still, what I was right about was that nobody has fallen just yet. And that's going to be 2 ultimates used by No Peel. The Tactical Visor, I mean, the damage from Neko Nyan and the Coalescence cleaned up by Hathrobo with the Tactical Visor. And that fight was so long, and they're already at 50%.
Even if they lost that fight, it actually would have been really beneficial because they were going to hold on to that point for quite a while after doing that first cap. Shangri-La, they continue to make swaps now. Frozen onto the Genji. Sound Barrier and Kitsune Rush is going to be up. But this could be last fight. This could be the map right here. No Peel, this is the first time they don't have anything on the board. Shangri-La, they have to make their move now.
Kael'Tor and Cotton Baller both using the shout to engage her. Finks has the Death Blossom in the Kitsune Rush. But only gonna, I mean, they're gonna win the fight. Don't get me wrong. They're gonna win that fight. But it cost them 3 ultimates there.
Yeah, that was very, very expensive. And I think there you can see the desperation, the need to do something to make something happen right away because of the worry if you don't act quick enough, you don't press Q fast enough, that maybe you just lose the neutral fight before you ever get your ultimate out. But now it's completely flipped. Peel, they're going to have the Reaper ult, they're going to have the Kitsune Rush, they're going to have the Rampage once more. Shangri-La, they've used everything that they had stalled up. They do potentially have the Rampage, but they won't get it first. So if Cotton Baller can use it right now, they have this huge advantage, and they're going to go in for it.
Rampages from both sides. Kael'Tor's hit 3 players. It's a 2-for-2 trade, but Neko Nyan tips it in No Peel's favor. Returns able to take down Royd Belt, and that is probably going to be the map. And it's going to be No Peel Gaming once again taking their map pick. And we're going to go to 2-1 match point No Peel Gaming.
Oh, they just look so much more confident when they had this double flex support lineup. The Kiriko with the Moira, not the most common combination of heroes, but they make it work well with that Junker Queen, with that Shout. They still have that empowered mobility, so they don't even need a Lucio. Besides that one fight where they overcommitted just a little bit to secure that second point, everything else was flawless. And you can see here in the scoreline, 3-0, only gave up about 60-70% on that third and last point. They were in the driver's seat the entire time, just like they were on Control. They just play these neutral objective map types so well, but going into the next map type, it could be a little bit more tricky considering that's going to be push.
Yeah, I mean, it just felt like on this map especially, hopefully Utopia is able to figure out their old economy, because they never had one. They could never take an ultimate fight on Servasa. I think they had maybe one ult fight, and they did end up winning it, but it cost them 3. So, I mean, No Peel had them on the ropes. Like, they had to play No Peel's game. And so hopefully going into their map pick, whatever it is going to be on push, it's going to be Esperanza. So hopefully here on Esperanza, Shangri-La can play their game like they got to on King's Row. And, you know, it's their map pick, so maybe they're a little more comfortable on Esperanza. So what would you kind of expect to see based on what we've seen throughout the rest of this series from, I guess, Shangri-La especially?
I mean, I think it's the same as King's Row. I think they see this and like, hey, this is probably the best map to play Brawl on, because sure, there is high ground contest, but if you have someone like Frozen who's going to commit to playing the Hanzo, you just set them up there while the rest of the team plays more around the objective. I think also you want to stay away from map types that allow No Peel to play their Junker Queen. I think Junker Queen is still potentially an option here, but I think Orisa Orion is probably the better way to go, just because you want a lot of that push bot control most of the time, as opposed to kind of running into the enemy team. You want to play more from a distance yourselves. But I think the biggest thing is I want whatever team is down, you know, is potentially like losing the map, you know, doesn't have the ult bank, to not swap. I think we've seen both teams, or not, I know we've seen both teams kind of panic when they're at a disadvantage, when they are losing fights over and over again. They're not letting the alt bank build up, and we've seen, you know, in the last game was King's Row as well as Servasa, where the team that's down is just going to play hero musical chairs, and they never give themselves a chance. So I think regardless of who's winning or losing, stick with your comp. You can make those swaps right away, but when you're like 5 minutes into the game, you have to kind of commit to it, because otherwise you're just never going to get a chance to actually fight back.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's just derivative of the fact that this is, you know, these aren't the highest ranked players. You know, so no disrespect to the players at all. I've been diamond before. I mean, I've been bronze before. I mean, for a while I was very, very low. And I mean, mistakes are going to get made, especially in a lower tier like this. And you just gotta, it's just going to come down who's going to make the least mistakes. And whoever makes the least mistakes is going to take this series, right? So I'm looking for Utopia to come into Esperanza, their map pick, lock in, try to make as few mistakes as possible, because, you know, they're going to happen eventually. You're going to make a mistake. It happens. It's whatever, but you have to not let those mistakes get to you.
Yeah, it's almost not even a mistake. I would say it's just like decision making. Like sometimes you got to go with your gut and not just, you know, immediately swap off of something. Sometimes you got to just commit to the play, even if maybe you don't necessarily believe it's going to work out. It's like it's just some of these teamwork based things. Like you said, you know, Diamonds, it's not GM, but these are still great players. You've still seen some great gameplay today, and I believe in them to be able to, you know, go through those decisions and make the right call. We'll see what they end up doing here as we get into potentially our fourth and almost potential final map. Could go to map 5. We could see Escort, but Utopia's again gonna have to come out with something new. They're actually going for the Ramatra this time around. Champion, or hero, excuse me, that we haven't really seen a bunch of recently. But they're going to speed out with the Symmetra. The Reaper's actually very far behind. Frozone still stuck in spawn, so they're going to be going into this 4v5. No Peel might have a very nicely won fight, and there's actually some swaps. Tributa's back in, but they're on the Hanzo this time, and they're going to have Hapuro go to the Ilyari, so this is very intriguing from No Peel game.
Yeah, and we're gonna see a Cotton Baller up on that high ground, dealing so much damage. Able to get cleaned up by Frozone, but, you know, Hathrobo, an excellent hit scan in his own right on the Iyari, is, looks deadly right now. And now it's with just Finks on the bot left for Utopia Shangri-La. There's not much hope in this fight right now. Just either need to die or get out.
You know, I miss flex players. There was something that really happened a lot in 2018 where like you had someone designated as a flex player. They played kind of a little bit of everything or at least 2 roles. And here we're going to see that on the side of No Peel Gaming. Tributa showing that they can hit shots on any role that they play, and they're looking very, very nice. Akin to what Frozone was doing earlier on in Shangri-La after not having Frozone in that first engagement. They end up losing it. Now they're giving it quite a bit of space to that push, but it's actually gonna potentially just get that first cap right away and get them that close spawn. I'm not sure if there's any contest from Utopia.
They're gonna go up through the window and maybe try to get the contest. Yeah, they'll drop down. Finks got taken so low so fast. Already no longer has that that ice block, so it's gonna be Neko traded for Finks, but Kael'Tor putting those pummels down, taking down returns. So this is right now leaning towards Utopia Shangri-La taking this fight, but we're not done yet. Cotton Baller uses the shout to try and stay alive, but Frozone showing up in that kill feed once again, able to take down the tank, but True Buddha, CJ Cool's dead, and I mean it's gonna be returns and Neko back along with Hathrobo, who does have the Captive Sun, and it's finally gonna be a little bit of push towards Shangri-La here.
Well, you gotta be careful. Their Ramacho's so low, but things with the dink and the dunk. Returns now taken off the field. And Utopia, that last second engage that stopped that forward progress point from being captured has made a world of difference now. They are pushing the bot all the way back, and the Captive Sun now going to be thrown out from No Peel to try to do something.
So it lands onto Roid Belt, but they're not able to clean up on the damage. But the Rampage helps to take down Roid Belt with the explosion damage from the Captive Sun. Kael'Tor popping the Annihilation now, taking it down. 2 returns, gets 1 to even it up here, but it's not gonna be enough as Cotton Baller walks forward and cuts the opposition down, and it's gonna be back towards No Peel here, and they're probably gonna get butt scratch now.
Thorobo able to help clutch out that fight after it looked like the Captive Sun wouldn't get much, but like you said, the Rampage on top of it gets all the damage done, and because they've already gone this push bot so far, it's going to have accelerated speed, which means that capture point is right within their reach. Can anyone touch? No, they cannot, so now they have that forward spawn unlocked. They're in a great spot, but now they have to win this fight out. You can see Utopia, they are re-engaging this really, really quickly.
The Tactical Visor out from returns, but the Blossom from Frozone is good. Getting a lot of people low and killing Hathrobo. Has to play a little safer because Is low probably doesn't have that Wraith anymore. Shangri-La so low, returns from that small high ground, able to keep it alive, and Taint returns, putting on a show on the Soldier 76, able to kill 3, and in what looked like a fight that was going to go towards Utopia Shangri-La, able to bring it back from the brink.
Legs for days, the Soldier running circles around the side of Shangri-La. They never saw it coming, and now that pushbot continues to make forward progress. Utopia, they gotta win a fight sooner than later. I'd love to see this Ammunition come out. There it is, Roid Belt able to land it, but there's gonna be a Rampage as the counter.
That Rampage hits 4, and I mean Kael'Tor's able to take down Neko Nyan. But I mean, it's always a consolation. You kill the Moira, but the Rampage from Cotton Baller continues to be such an insane wall to get over for Shangri-La.
Because of that forward spawn, there is basically a direct path for the Moira to get back. I mean, she already has Wraith forms, so she has some mobility. She can get back into this fight really quickly, and it's not even like you have that advantage on the side of the defenders. And Tributa gets Finks. It's looking dangerous. There's a trade, but this push ball continues to make moves.
Yeah, getting really, really close to that point of no return. Captive Sun out from Hathrobo, able to clean up CJ Cool and Roid Belt. I mean, Probo, man, looking absolutely deadly on this Iari as he did on the Ashe, and you know, whatever he wants to play, looking so good, and this bot just continues to push along for No Peel Gaming. They don't have any ults here coming up, but you know, it might just be too far gone.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think they should be able to stabilize here if you're on the side of Shangri-La. But you lose Bright Belt. You throw out the Blizzard and you're not finding too much of anything. Okay, now they've gotten a few picks, so this should finally, eventually, be some sort of hold, some sort of fight win. You really don't want to use too much here. It looks like they're only going to use that one ultimate, the Blizzard, and eventually they'll clean things up. So, good presence of mind to not overcommit. But this is still looking very dire for Utopia. They do have some ultimates that should help them push ahead. The sound barrier, especially from CJ, needs to be timed right to counter the Rampage on the other side, or potentially even the Visor if someone falls low. But, I mean, after that, like, we've seen some success with the Death Blossom here and there. But they just have to win, like, these fights outright. They have to get a lot of movement. Otherwise, they're going to put themselves in a not winnable situation.
And I mean, it's 3 ultimates for both sides. We need to see the beat from CJ Cool, or no, we don't. Okay, oh, he checks. Kills were able to take down 2, but CJ Cool dropping the beat a little bit too late to respond to the Rampage and loses it entirely. You needed that if you're Shangri-La, but now it's, I mean, you're staring at a monolith. To take this map to keep it the series alive.
There was a delay. I'm not sure what caused it, but you didn't see the sound barrier attempt until a few moments later. The dragon put them in an awkward position. Just so many things going wrong when everything needs to be right. But Frozone on the backside gets one.
Okay. Maybe not even needing the Death Blossom, but throwing it in for good measure there is Frozone. But I mean, you know, they're lucky that they were able to win the next fight coming back. And I don't even think they let them get past the, oh no, they did, okay. But, yeah, coming back, it's gonna be up to Shangri-La to keep this going with no ultimates in the bank.
That's the thing. Like, they use everything there just to get the fight back, to get the push bot back in a somewhat favorable position. And if you're No Peel, you're thinking, this is fine, but maybe not so fine.
Yeah, I mean, Frozone able to get a trade there onto True Buddha, who has switched over to the Cassidy now. So maybe trying to get those hinders in onto Frozone. But we're gonna get butt scratch for Shangri-La. That's really, really big. With a minute and a half left on the clock, they still have 70 meters to go if they want to overtake the lead that No Peel has. But getting that checkpoint is definitely a start.
It's a start, but it's such a difficult climb to make up this hill. They still have 70 meters they'd have to get to even get close to reaching where No Peel had their final push. And there's so much land to cover, so much movement they have to make. And they're still finding themselves on the back, but they do get the closer spawn because of getting that forward capture. It is already disabled, but at least some of those members will get the forward spawn, and they get to do things like that where they take out returns.
Yeah, returns does fall. And the rest of Shangri-La joined him. Hathrovo able to get one on the way out, but did CJ Cool just killed 3 people. So, no way. No way.
Oh, the movement on the push bot. I mean, they're going to fall eventually, but this is disastrous. Because they win the fight, but they never get control of it until now, and that means forward spawn's been given up to them once again. No people will be able to engage again on this really quickly.
Shangri-La has some ultimates coming up.
Last
Almost fight. 4 ultimates here. No Peel has the Rampage, and CJ Cool, they don't have a response for the Rampage anymore. Returns killing the... this is going to be all that she wrote. Frozone taking one for the road, but it just doesn't matter. And No Peel Gaming are your CGL mid-season Diamond champions, getting that extra win on their record going into the postseason.
That's so big. Utopia, they're not walking away empty-handed. They will get that 2 map points in their favor, but a whole win, that could be the difference between making playoffs, getting the first seed. You know, there's so many situations where just having that extra win on your resume could be the difference maker and what could be a championship run later on as well. No Peel, they get another 3-1. I said it a little bit earlier, they had a more difficult road to get here. They won 3-1 in their semifinal series here. Again, they give up that 1 map. They still bring it all the way home, running their own style of Overwatch and making it look really good, forcing so many errors from the other side. Unfortunately, Utopia, they just weren't able to get the fights they wanted. You could see the support ultimates were there, but they could never get used in the right way. And although Utopia put up a great fight, No Pill Gaming just were the better team today.
Yeah, and I mean, you were saying it before. They showed so many looks and looked very good on almost all of them. You know, Cotton Baller coming out on the Doomfist, which it's gaining a little bit of traction recently, but like, still, I would consider it off meta. And absolutely looking great on Ilios there with the Doomfist, breaking it out a couple of times on the other maps as well. But specifically the Junker Queen from Cotton Baller, I mean, looked just unstoppable for No Peel Gaming. And, you know, we don't really do like player of the matches, but I like to give, you know, unofficial ones. And I think my vote is gonna go towards Cotton Baller.
Yeah, I can't disagree. I think this tank was a huge part of the reason why they were able to win those 3 maps very decisively. And you saw the scoreline, 2-0, 3-0, 1-0. So obviously, you know, the push scoreline is a little wonky because you can only get a 1-0 basically. But every map was very one-sided for the most part, except for King's Row, which was a 3-2. And a big part of why it was a 3-2 is because that Doomfist, that off-meta pick, kept them in those fights, was stunning people up left, right, and center, just engaging on the backline, just creating chaos and havoc that Utopia could not deal with. Utopia did end up winning that one out, but it was not an easy one to win whatsoever. So I agree with that. I think Cotton Baller definitely played a huge role in this series for their team and deserves that recognition that we are both giving them. And overall, I think just No Peel Gaming, I will say the best part about this series overall was the Doomfist versus Wrecking Ball. Not something I would expect at all to see in a game of competitive Overwatch like this, but man, was it fun to watch.
Yeah, and I mean, I just want to shout out a player from Utopia that I think impressed despite the loss. I mean, Frozone looked very, very good. Whether or not he was playing the Hanzo or the Reaper or whatever, he looked good on both and did his part to try and keep Shangri'La in this series. Just not enough in the end. But if I'm Utopia, you know, you got to keep your head up. You know, it's not the postseason yet. The season is not over for you. So, I mean, going in, I mean, I'm looking for Shangri-La to bounce back and look very, very good later on in the season.
Yeah, and I think also one thing we have to mention that we really didn't touch upon was that they are playing with someone who wasn't intended to be in their starting roster. We originally had, I believe it was Pickle Bear that was supposed to be one of the starting DPS for the side of Utopia. Things I think did a great job filling in. You know, I think they played phenomenal. There's no complaints from me on their end. Just couldn't get the job done. And even with a player playing individually very well, sometimes it just changes the entire synergy of a team. Comm structure can be a bit different. Maybe the compositions and the plans you have are a little bit different than you were planning on. So it's really unfortunate. I believe they had some sort of storm in their area that was leading to power outages, so Pickle Bear could not be with us today. But you know, when it comes to those playoffs later down the line and they're back at full strength, they're back at their starting roster, they get a chance at revenge for that.
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking forward to seeing what both of these teams are going to do for the rest of this CGL season. But that is going to do it for us. Once again, congratulations to No Peel Gaming, our Diamond mid-season champions. Thank you to all of our prod team for helping us out tonight to make this match possible. And but like I said, that's going to do it for us tonight. So thank you all for watching and joining and enjoying this match with us. Good night, everyone.